Hey guys, welcome back to the Ride Wet Waxing channel. So what have we got in this episode? We've got an awesome Travis Rice, a Lib Tech Pro. Got magnet traction, it's got the Drake bindings. Like I say, lovely board. Needs a bit of detail, needs a bit of love, which is exactly why it's in the right place. We're going to clean and polish up this top coat, put some, I've got kind of some ceramic polish to put on top as well to hopefully dissipate that snow. So we're going to clean up this top coat so it is really going to shine because it's very dull. I'll show you in a second when I pop you in my hand. We've got some lovely Drake bindings. We've got a positive negative 15 on the bindings. So again, the gentleman ahead, if he ever needs to go refer back to this video to find out how the actual bindings were set up. Positive negative 15, so basically an equal stance on the board. This binding seems to be set back like one threaded bolt, so kind of like offset to the right, with this kind of being mid bolt, so kind of a little bit more of a rear directional stance. So we'll make sure that goes back in the right place as well. So I always take the bindings off. Just one note, if you're ever storing when you come back from snowboarding, take your board out your bag when you get home, just get your bolts, as I've done already, and just free them up. Not to do anything else other than it just takes all that pressure and all that pulling strength off the board when you're storing it, say in a loft or in a garage. Would always recommend back of the wardrobe because it saves the rails from going rusty. Because if you get a lot of temperature change throughout the seasons, and that can cause an indentation or a depression, should we say, in the base of the board. So quick screwdriver, just crack them all off. It's not going anywhere, but it's just nice and loose, and it'll prevent any further damage. But I'm rambling on. I'm going to pop you in my hand. We're going to have a quick detailed look at this board. There it is from the base. Da-da-da. And the base needs some work. So I'm going to do a quick beforehand on this top coat and then we'll polish it up. But there is that top coat. It's quite matte and dull. We're going to give that a nice clean up as well as just there and there. Obviously the bindings themselves, we have got, there is the arrow. It's always in the middle. And they go up in 3 points. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 and so on and so on. So with just one digit to the left of the 15, so we've got 12 just on the front foot, and exactly the same on the rear foot, but obviously facing the other direction. So there's the arrow, and we've got a 12 just there. Always a good one to make a note of when obviously, and you've also got a marker just on the side just here as well, so you can always gauge it from that one. But again, we've got the one screw which is just there, but it's always good to note that because that is super important. But anyway, I'm going to quickly take these bindings off and then we'll flip the board over. There we are. We're going to clean all this up. We've got some old paper material from a previous binding, I think, multiple stances. Don't get me wrong, we're not going to get rid of all these lines because they're actually marked and impressioned into the actual top coat, but we're going to clean this up. So that's what we're going to quickly do. I'm going to pop you on time lapse, just detail this. It's not something that normally you'd get done when you wax your boards or skis, but it's something that I like to do because when you look down, it looks fresh, it looks good. You're in the lineup, people think, oh, a smart board, and it's like everything, you know, you clean a car, clean your board. It's crack on. And there we are. Like I say, you're always going to have those battle scars because it's not obviously, but that is super smooth now. We've got, you can see the light there in my hand. Kind of reflection, so you've got great shine and it's really smooth. Got rid of all that dirt down here. Come up lovely. Up before and after. I'll just chuck the before shot just on there so you can see the difference in colour, but it's always worth detailing because, like I say, it's been polished, warmed and dried, and this thing is ready to go. But flip it over, different story. Not quite so nice under here. We've got some proper deep gouges on the board, loads of loose material. And again, you look at that T and the E, we've got some serious cleaning to do. The rails are not pretty, as you can see just here. Got a nasty core shot just here, which I think is attempted to be filled, but you can actually see the back edge of the rail. Ooh. Just in there, and again, you want to keep the moisture out of that. And there is that rail. We've got a lot of love to do here. So we've got some clear P-Tex, we've got some base layer, but what I'm going to do first is I will attack just this area. I'm going to clean this out and get all the residue. I'm actually going to put some black in here, some black base material, and then we'll P-Tex over the top. And then we'll do some P-Tex. But before we do all of that, I'm going to get the base, I'm going to get this done first. Then I'm going to work on these rails, because these rails are pretty nasty. As you can see, zoom back out, and then we've got the lib. We've got a bit of delamination up here as well, which we need to sort out. So I will epoxy that down. So I've got some epoxy I'll mix up, put in here, and I'm going to sandwich that down and pull that down flat, because what you don't want to do is that ripping off here. So there's quite a bit of work here to do, and I have to sit and let that cure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the rails. Before I start cleaning and really working on the base, I'm going to get that done first. I'm going to get the rails done. I'm going to clean the board. I'm going to fix that, let that cure then for 4 or 5 hours with some epoxy. Get that stuck down, then I can come in, P-Tex, strip and clean. That's the idea. But yeah, it's got some battle scars as this one, and it's very, very dry. Can't really pick it up on camera, it's really picking up the blue, but it is, there you go, that's a bit more like it. It's like that kind of colour all the way over, and I think it should be a very enriched blue. So the aim for this one is to turn this bad boy around. I'm wrapping on, get your time lapse, let's fix that. So there we are, guys, we've got to fix that little bit at the top, get those rails which are not looking good, but first of all we're going to work on this core shot. So tune time, here we go. What I'm going to show you quickly on this phone is this. Let me just quickly go to video. You can actually see I've laid that base material down, and I've laid it just underneath the surface, so it's actually covering up all that core area. I've got this on because this stuff absolutely stinks. I can't imagine it's good for your lungs. So yeah, so I've laid that down. Like I say, the board itself is still very, very rough. We will make sure that looks a lot better, as you can see just on the screen here. And then we're going to fill this with P-Tex, and I've gone for black just purely because the white just looked too discoloured and too dirty, and it's been out of the board so long. You've got bits of rail and all sorts in there, so the black's just going to give it a nice cleaner dimension. I've cleaned up all the loose edges and cut that into a nice square, and we filled that. Like I said, that's just first phase. Second phase, we now filling it with P-Tex, and then base scraping it and make sure it's nice and flat. The whole idea is to seal the moisture out of the board, and already it's looking loads better. And the reason why it's looking a bit scrappy is because I used my Stanley knife blade and I scratched that up basically to basically kind of create a rough surface, so when the P-Tex sticks, it really does stick to it. Otherwise this is a real glossy finish, as you can see just here on the screen. So there we are. Loads better. We're going to fill that now with P-Tex, again leaving the mask on. That core material is really good, and it just basically seals out, because P-Tex will normally fall out or crack up and break, which obviously what has happened before here. Somebody's obviously put that in, which is fine, but it's not a very long lasting solution, should we say, to the problem. So we're going to get some P-Tex now. We're going to burn this up. We're going to get my scraper out, just because I like to have a nice sharp drip line, and it just controls it. And then we're going to fill that up. So again, we just get the lighter. We're going to get the P-Tex nice and hot, get that nice blue glow on the base of the P-Tex. This stuff is so hot. What you mustn't ever do if you P-Tex in a board is to get this on your skin. It carries on burning. I've done it a few times. No matter how much you fling your hand around and jump up and down and scream, it carries on burning. It is potent stuff. Like I say, you can get black and clear. And we've got a lovely blue. And the whole idea is to not get an orange glow off the back of that P-Tex and to get nice strips. For the simple reason, the orange creates soot. And the soot goes into, there we go, just got a little bit, oh, blowout. That's exactly, I'm glad it didn't drip. So we get some heat back in that. So you're just trying to reduce the amount of soot that's coming off the base of that P-Tex. So keeping it nice and blue, and you find it's easily noticeable. Let's line up that again and drip that in. On a clear P-Tex stick, because it goes a nasty kind of orangey colour. It's very hard though, to be honest, to get it perfect. I'm just creating a little lip line. And that's where I always use. That's the smoke you don't want to breathe in. Just open the door up. Stuff. So yeah, we've got a nice little lip line there, and that way then I can scrape that off. It dries really, really quickly. As you can see, I can pick it off, but it is obviously still quite warm. And then we're just going to scrape this off now, gently. And then we'll get that back to a nice base. And if we've got to fill it up again and again and again and again, we'll do so. And then we'll do the other bits on the board in clear. Oops, wrong one. Which is that one just there. Okay, so that's what we're doing, and that's what we like to do. We've got to get the boards absolutely A1. There's no reason why. I could simply just wax this board, charge the customer, it will look lovely. Don't base scrape it, leave all the dead material on. The wax will sit on top of the dead material. Take that off now. Sit on the dead material. You'd have a few runs, and then you'd be pretty much back to what you've got now, which is not what it's about. I like to go a little bit further with what I do and get all that dead material off, so actually laying the wax into the proper base material of the board so it lasts as long as possible and the customer gets to enjoy their board, a bit like cleaning the top coat. It's just attention to detail. I'm rambling on. Let's pop you on time lapse and let's start detailing this board. But first off, I'm going to do the rails on time lapse. I'm going to fix that nose bit as well, some epoxy, and then we'll get into a full base scrape. See you in a bit. Right, so we have done the rails, we've done some epoxy work, so I've actually got a clamp on there just gluing that base coat down, that little lip that flicked up. I've also, with the spare epoxy that I have had, I've actually flipped the board over, and there were some damages just around the edge, nose and tail on the top coat, so I've just basically sealed those in, so they're nice, be nice and watertight. Like I say, we've detailed those edges, we've done that core shot there, which is awesome. We're going to get on to cleaning this base now. That already, as you can see, just here, is all dead material off the bottom of this board. That is just from up there. Now you can most probably see the colour difference already from that word jib to the letter H, and I've only just started. It is intense, the amount of dead material on the base of this board, and the whole point is to get rid of all of that, as you can see just there, which is all just dead fluff from a very sharp scraper. So I've set my little rig up here to sharpen my scraper up to get that base material back, but also taking all these high edges off, making sure the base is lovely and flat. So nice sharp edge, and basically we're just not an immense amount of pressure, just running down the board, kind of a sensible angle like so, and we're just taking all that dead material off, but it isn't just one pass, it's hundreds. Really fine tuning the base of this board, so when we put the wax on, it really does absorb lovely into the base, and also it will get rid of some of these high spots, so I can expose the areas that I do need to PTEX, and then I'll go back over the board again, and then we'll finish with the brass brush just to put some structure back in the base of the board, and then we can lay the wax down and the board's done. And then you'll see that before and after, and hopefully we'll get that blue and rich base with that word jib and that word tech really popping out of the board. A lot of work's going into this board, a lot of work. But like I say, it needs must. I want the board to be absolutely tip top and A1, and also for Ed to look down at his feet and go, yeah, you know, let's get it on and get that confidence so we can have an awesome holiday. Guys, stay tuned. Bit of a long video, this one. Got lots of little bits and tips if you are watching along, and put some tunes on, and I'll see you in a bit. So on these awesome Magna Traction side rails, they are super sharp, taking off plenty of nail, which really does show that these are tuned in both base and side. But more importantly, let's jump onto the nose of the board just here. This is where we put the epoxy in, and it has sealed lovely. We've got the oozing out of the epoxy on the front of the board, which I'll trim off with a Stanley knife shall we say, exposing that top rail, and yeah, basically sealing it in from all the external elements. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me grab my mobile a minute, and I'm going to pop on the screen a little shot of obviously what it looks like close up, because you can't really quite see it on the Insta360, but it is looking superb. There we go. So that's the repair that I have done. That was that big tab that was sticking up. I'll clean this area off and the excess epoxy, but that is lovely and flat now, so you're not going to cause any more ripping. And this is this dryness that we see here, so we've got to clean all this up. All this dead material's got to come off the board, and that's through a lot of scraping. We've got to keep going, and that's those indentation areas that you can see where the actual bindings screws are, and that's what I was saying very early in the video, making sure that you unloosen your screws of your bindings when storing your board. Absolutely crucial is that, as you can just see up on the screen just here. But anyway, let's crack on and get this looking mint. Okay, so the wax has been laid, the edges have been done, it's been dull and tipped, it's been scraped to the 10th degree, and we have taken off a lot of dead base material. We've repaired that section there with PTEX and obviously core shot, so that's lovely and flat now, and we've filled in all these grooves, albeit you can see it with the clear, it's flat basically. That's the aim of the game. We've polished and detailed that top coat, albeit it just needs another quick wipe over, simply because of the dust, but it's going to get more waxy dust on as I scrape all this off. I'm going to use my sharpener, this bad boy here, and we're going to basically take all the wax off. That's exactly what we're going to do now. So we're going to take all the wax off, and then we're going to polish it all up. But instead of you watching me do this for about half an hour, I'm going to put it on time lapse. So let's burn to some tunes. Here we go. So there we are, one Lib Tech Travis Rice all done. Now this board needed some work. It's come up really well, in considering it's obviously had a life, which is great. And I love that because that means this board has seen some action, and we've pulled it back, I think. But I'm really pleased with the way the base has come up. It's lovely and smooth. Yeah, we've got some ridge lines and gouges. It's not obviously like a brand new board. You're never going to get it like a brand new board, but that said, the edges are nice and sharp. We've got that detail, we've got the colour in the base of that board, so it's lovely and blue as you can see, and we've got that shine as you can see on the base of that board. It looks superb. I'm just looking at my camera over there, all the way down. Yeah, really pleased with that, really pleased. That has come up lovely, really pleased. And again, that core shot is lovely and flat, and it's sealed. We've obviously fix that nose as well where that little bit was sticking up. We've epoxied around the top coat, just on the top coat, just up here, so it's a little bit of a bumpery bit, but nice thing is it's sealed, and we're going to be having no moisture getting in between those layers and delaminating this board, so this board is good to go for a fair few years yet. And that's it, guys, another board done, another Lib Tech. Do love a Lib Tech from the Rider Waxing Workshop. Guys, thanks for tuning in, but don't forget, hit that like, hit that subscribe, share with your friends, and anybody in Devon area needs one of these stickers on their boards, they can obviously get in contact with me. And yeah, well, nothing else to say until next time. We will see you soon.